Hi guys, we're back again. Got a special guest today. Julia, where are you from?
So my name's Keira. I'm originally from Southern Ireland in Cork, and I'm over here in the UK now about 12 years, 13 years.
Splendid, glorious accent.
Yeah,
Love all that, yeah.
it's kind of diluted now though. I'm over here
Was
that
it
long.
stronger when you?
Yeah,
when
it
you
was very strong. I used to have to repeat myself all the time to people.
we find that any time we leave Liverpool, you have to slow yourself right down and talk as clear as you can because people just can't understand the words you're saying, can they?
Same. But when I go back out to Ireland now, everyone says that the Scouse twang is coming out of me.
Yeah.
Things
Yeah.
that I would say, like, do you know, I say like, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I'll carry it on, and they're
Yeah.
like, you have a Scouse accent, but.
Did you get back over much?
Yeah, so it's only literally an hour up and down.
Right,
so
yeah. Plane goes up and it's already back down by the
so
time
I
you
go
go in
over
there.
all the time, yeah, to my cousins, and they come over here. So yeah.
Oh,
Years
just
ago.
that base.
When I was on the taxis, I'm about as religious as our dog. I don't do religion in any way, right? But if someone had to say to me, describe an angel, when I was on the cabs years ago, I picked up this young girl and she sat behind me. So even today, if she was stood next to me, I couldn't tell you what she looked like. But she had the most glorious Southern Irish accent you've ever heard in your life. And I went, oh my God, where are you from? And she told me, and I can't remember, it was somewhere right down the bottom, right on the very bottom half of Ireland. But she had the most glorious voice you ever heard in your life. And we were just talking. And I said, I need a favour. She said, what's that? I said, I want to meet you tomorrow. Anywhere you want for a coffee. I said, anything you want, I'll take you something to eat, take you for a coffee. I said, but can I record your voice? And she went, what do you mean? I said, all I want you to do, I'll bring a little tape recorder. I want you to say, at the next junction, turn left. And at the junction after that, turn right. Turn around, you dopey bastard, you're going the wrong way, right? She was laughing at it. I was only a young girl, a student. And like I say, I couldn't tell you to this day what she looked like, but it's just the most glorious accent you've ever heard. And if someone said to me, what would an angel sound like? It'd be this girl's voice.
Well, that's where I'm from, right down the very end, Cork. That's
Yeah.
down the very end.
Is it
of
coastal
Ireland.
one, yeah?
Yeah, so like there's County Cork. I was raised in the city, but there is County Cork, which is beautiful. When I take my fella back, he loves it. Like the
Yeah.
scenery, yeah, just dead peaceful. But I'm originally from the city, so I'm a city girl. Couldn't
Right.
live in the country, but I do like going back for a
That way
little
you
bit.
sound so well, yeah.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, happy days. Well, the reason you're here is I think you've got a bit of a story to tell, haven't you?
Yeah.
So how did it all start and how did you end up here? That's a bit of an open question, but if we go back to the start, we can't.
So the very start, I suppose my mum had me out of wedlock, and it was a big thing back in Ireland.
You wouldn't even think twice about that now, would you?
No, but years ago it was like you had a kid before marriage, and you either get adopted or sent to the nuns or a Magdalene school or whatever it may be. It was dead strict. So she ended up coming over to England when I was a kid. I was with my nan and granddad for the first few years, and then I came over as a kid, and it was just chaos. I witnessed things that I shouldn't have witnessed as a kid. You know, I seen a lot of drugs, a lot of violence, door getting kicked in, domestic violence, dragged up and down to the prison, stuff like that as a young kid that I shouldn't really have witnessed. But
When you were getting dragged up to the prisons, who were you going to see?
my mum's boyfriend.
Oh, yeah.
So I was growing up, so there was a lot of chaos. And every time then I'd come back to Ireland in, say, the summertime, when I go back for holidays, I go back to my nan and granddad's house, and it was my safety, it was my safe place, it was my security, you know. Then I'd go with my aunt and uncle and all my cousins and do the family stuff with them, and so that was a safe place. And then I'd go back to England again, and then it was just chaos, you know. Now I know, like, from the work that I do and stuff like that, that a lot of the reason why someone goes down the road that they go down to either, like, what it may be, mine was drugs, is because of childhood trauma. You know, 90% of the time,
Yeah.
mental health issues, childhood trauma. And I think that's where it all started. You know, I didn't have a dad around, didn't know who my dad was, found that out later on in life. So I think I always longed for this sense of security, wanting to fit in, wanting to be accepted, you know, abandonment issues, rejection, all that stuff that creeps in as a kid. And I think that's why the path went the way that it did. So I moved back to Ireland when I was about 10. No, a bit younger, about 8. Back to my nan and granddad's house, and went to school. And that school was like, you know, I couldn't concentrate in school ever. Later diagnosed with ADHD, riddled in it, like. And but back then you didn't know,
No,
you
you
were just
didn't know,
classed
yeah.
as a naughty child, like.
Yeah.
So I do things, you know, just to get out of the class, because I'd feel stupid because the teacher would say something, and you know the way they'd ask you to repeat what they've said, and I would be after forgetting. So then she'd ask me, and then I'd feel stupid in front of the class, so then I'd lash out in anger, or you know, walk out of the class or something like that. So I hated school. And I always think, it makes me feel sad that later being diagnosed, I always think, now I'm in my last year of my degree, and I always think if they caught it back then, would I have took a different shine to school?
100%,
Do you know what I mean?
We're kind of going down the pathway with the little man now, where he's starting to show the same kind of signs I did, or I do now. So there's stuff in place that they go, okay, so his mind works this way, so what can we do to help put him on that path? But back then, no one knew fuck all about it.
No. Like there is strategies that you can put in place. Like my little girl, now Erin, she's wild. This is my youngest, so she's like half Irish, half Scouse blood, dangerous.
Mate, everyone in this city's half Irish house.
I know, but she's like, you know, she's just lively, where my other one is dead introverted, she's dead laid back. But Erin is like out there, and we have them in Irish dancing twice a week now, because I just think, put all that energy into a hobby, do you know what I mean? So, and that'll help her.
Yeah,
but
100%.
yeah, so and I moved back when I was 8. I hated school at that time, and was living with my nan and granddad, and then I moved back home, and then yeah, it was just chaos. I suppose I was dead kind of shy and closed off in school as well. Never wanted to let anyone close in. Maybe because I didn't want them to find out what was going on at home. It was some of that, you know, that I got a bit older. Fast forward, I got a bit older. You know, my nan was always my queen. My nan was my everything. My granddad was like my dad, so he is my dad. That's what I would say. You know, dead good relationship with all my cousins. My cousins are like sisters. Do you know, because I spent 90% of the time there as a kid. So fast forward, my nan ended up dying when I was 16, and my life just spiraled. I had started drinking in the park and doing the things that everyone was doing, but when she died, when I was about 15, 16, and then that's when my life just went downhill. And you know, there was a lot of drugs around me. I suppose I could get my hands on drugs easy, and the lads that I started hanging around with were older, wanting to fit in with them again. Probably stemmed from being a child, wanting to fit in or whatever, but they'd be after getting a few months in the jail, they'd be after trying to gear up in the jail, and then they'd come out and I could get my hands on stuff easy. So, you know, so that was around me, so I started dabbling with smoking weed, taking cocaine, what the things that everyone else was doing. And then, you know, when I was 17, I got introduced to drugs, let's just say by someone that, you know, was a family member, someone that was meant to protect me. So yeah, so that was when everything then just spiraled right downhill. Started picking up charges, ended up getting my first habit at maybe I was just after turning 18, picking up charges, doing the things I wasn't meant to be doing. That led me then to getting involved with the criminal justice system, you know, in and out of the criminal justice system on petty charges, I suppose they were called. And then when I was 20, I ended up getting in a fight with a drug dealer. Another family member was with me, and the two of us ended up getting sent to prison for 4 years. So two of us got 4 years for that. I went into prison and come off like methadone, which is a substitute for heroin. Come off that. For the first 2 years of my sentence, I was getting into fights, you know, getting drugs sent in, getting caught with phones, all that stuff. And then I remember just thinking, like, I need to get out of here. I need to just get my head down now, get out of here. So got a job in there, you know, done a few qualifications.
What type of job were you doing in prison?
Hairdressing. So there was a salon in there that we could go do like a course, and then we could get a little job out of it, like every Wednesday doing the girls' hair. So that's what I done. And
something to focus on as well, isn't it?
Yeah, something to like, I was only a kid, you know, when I see kids now, like, I think like at that age, I look at them as pure kids, and at that age, that's the way I was in there, like going in as a kid.
Because you mainly work in female prisons now, yeah?
So no, so I'm for the last 10 years I've done like various support roles. So I've done like addiction, wholeness, addiction, then moved on to kids, and then what I've been doing is since the last 12 months is going around to all the different prisons sharing my story. So I've been in, so that's a quite surreal thing to go into the prison and then walk out, because you just get that like sense of gratitude of look how far my life has come. Do you know?
It's having the choice as well at the end of the day to go, I'm walking out the front door rather than back into that cell.
That's it. Like,
Do you ever get kind of, I don't know if PTSD is the right word, but do you ever get nervous going back? Does it bring back old memories and stuff like that?
I thought like I would. I mean, I was fine, and then it was my first time a while back going into a female prison, so that was a bit different, and it was a bit like I thought like it would bring up loads of stuff, but yeah, it was just mad. It was a surreal feeling of like look how far I've come kind of a thing, because it's
Kind of a little bit of pride as well.
yeah, it's a whole life. Like it doesn't even feel like that it's me, you know. Like I remember when I was going for a job and I had to get all my vetting done and all my charges come in front of me, and my partner said, how does it make you feel seeing them? And I was just like, it just feels like a different person. Do you know what I mean? It feels like that wasn't me.
When you're looking back on it, does it kind of look like you're looking back on it like a series on the telly, like you remember watching an old series, because it doesn't feel like it was you doing it because you're such a different person now.
It's mad. Like me and my cousin we laugh about it all the time. Like we were back there for Christmas. Now my fella's like the total opposite to me, Mr. Horizontal. He's always had a good job. You know, he's never been in trouble with the police. Totally different lifestyle to me. And we go back at Christmas and me and my cousins, we saying things, talking about stuff like like just proper laughing, like, and he's like, oh, what we do, he's like, or we watch a series and I'd say someone's name and he's like, oh yeah, I forgot I was with a criminal. You know, we just laugh about, like, he never judged me. I was always straight up with him. Yeah, but he's just total opposite. Me and my cousin, we'd be howling like at the stories that I used to get up to. And
I think that's a generational thing as well, because we'll do it. My cousins and my brother and that, we'll get together, have a few drinks at the parties, whatever. So I remember we done this, and it was your rat, and him and my daughter, he'll go, what? He's on what? My daughter's he's go, what's my dad used to go, oh no, can't say, never got into any of that. Never played in those places, yeah. But yeah, it's like, old stories get the cogs turning, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's just
people who've never moved in them circles go,
I know, and because he's never seen me like that either, do you know what I mean? He's always met me for Keira, who I am in recovery. But since I've come to the UK, so I came out of prison and it didn't rehabilitate me at all. It didn't. If anything, I got more equipped. I got involved with bigger people.
More
contacts. And then I had this mindset back then, which I laugh about now, but I was like, right, I'll get out of prison and I'll substitute my crack and smack for fine wines and champagne, and I'll get with this big drug dealer and it'll be sound, I'll be fine. Where that was far from the truth. I got out and that's what did happen. I met someone that was known, he was involved in all sorts of gangs, and domestic violence come into that really bad, and I ended up in overdosing and ended up in hospital. I remember coming out of hospital and he thought that I was off with someone, and I was after like waking up ripping tubes out of myself, because when they like bring you back, they give you an antidote. So when I woke up, I was sick. I was ill because I was obviously withdrawn from drugs, and I ended up getting a bad beating off him, and my family drove up and they were like, you need to leave the country, get out of here, because you're going to end up back in there, he's going to kill you, or you know, you need to leave the country. So that's what I did, come here in 2012. And
was Liverpool your first stop?
No, Manchester. So then it wasn't all like rosy from then. So went to Manchester and got a few years clean, went into a Christian rehab, you know, and I found my faith there, which I'm grateful for, because you know, I think the majority of people that you'll meet in recovery will say higher power, don't they? They have a faith in some sort, whether that's the universe, stars, angels. Mine is God. I believe in God, and you know, I have a strong faith in God, you know, I'm not shy about it. But that's where I found my relationship with a higher power, I suppose.
Was that the first place in Manchester you landed, or were you in Manchester and then just happened upon that place?
No, so that I went directly from a church over in Ireland to a church in Manchester.
Also, did the church sorted for you?
Yeah.
Oh,
So went over there and done 12 months residential in there. And I got a few years clean, and that's where I met my baby's dad in that rehab. And yeah, so I ended up getting married, because that's what you had to do. It was like a shotgun wedding. Didn't know him really, and it was chaos. So I had the baby and stuff, and you know, I was left on my own with the baby while he went off and did what he did. He was with some other woman back in Cork, so I was on my own in Manchester with the baby, and I ended up took him back, and then lots of stuff come into that relationship, lots of violence, and that's how we ended up in Liverpool, because I fled from domestic violence to a women's refuge with my oldest daughter in Liverpool, and yeah, so then it was all like never again, and that's not what you say, you know. You think of the child's own joy. I always thought my dad not having around, my daughter might then go on to look for a sense of belonging in men and whatever it may be, and I didn't want that for her, so kept taking someone back to be that role model in her life, and that wasn't the case. It was an absolute disaster.
Well, you should always in the right place for it.
I know. It was like I was in a refuge now, but I was after getting out, and I ended up getting my first house, and I ended up taking this person back, and a really serious assault happened one night, and I was after getting warned from the first time in Manchester by social services not to have this person around, and I ended up taking him back. So I remember that night, and I got like, my face was destroyed, and I rang the police, but then I hung up because I was thinking, they're going to find out.
Take the little one.
And they'll take the little one. I rang and I hung up, but it was too late, because the next morning they were banging down my door, and they ended up removing my child from my arms. Now, I had no family over here, so I was in the middle of Liverpool on my own. And I was like, so family members come over anyway to try to sort it out, but I went from that night, I was just like, I can't deal with this pain. I've just had a child ripped from my arms, and I ended up in the middle of a cracky after scoring really bad in the middle of a crack house, and any time I sobered up, I just didn't want to face this feeling that I was feeling, so
So were you sober at the time she got took up?
Yeah, I was in Liverpool College, and she was in the nursery, so it was like one day it was fine, and the next day it was just all come down, crashing down around me.
You're not fault of your own as well, because you got a beating.
I know. And this is the thing, and this is why
System's back to front.
and this is what frustrates me. Now, I've seen it firsthand with my own eyes, and this is why I want to do what I want to do. Eventually, my heart will always be for the women. You know, when I went to share my story in the prison a few weeks ago, I had women coming up crying to me, and it was my story that they started clapping, you know, when I spoke about my child, and they come up and they were like, you know, my kid's in the system, and and you just feel at that time like I couldn't deal with that pain, and I ended up kept using, which I shouldn't have. You know, I should have put up a fight, but every time that pain, I sobered up. I just couldn't, because I wanted to end things for myself. It was the worst place I've ever been in my life. So I ended up obviously then continuing with the drugs and getting a habit again, and I got found by a taxi man in Bazzackley, and went to hospital, and I was after collapsing my lung from smoking that much stuff. So I was in Bazzackley hospital now with a collapsed lung, and I'm grateful for that hospital, because they kept me in there until the detox bed come up, and I ended up going into detox, and then I ended up going into rehab in Liverpool, and that's when my journey kind of changed, and I met so many amazing people. You know, you had Ray on, didn't you? Ray was one of the first people that I kind of met. He actually done my induction going into rehab. Yeah,
he's a boss man, Ray, isn't he?
He's just sound. So he's seen it from early days when I was like a headless chicken coming in, like getting into fights in there all the time. But I was just angry at myself. Do you know what I mean? And I was projecting that at everything around me. So I done that, and I got, you know, my daughter went to a family member which I was grateful for, to get her out of the system, because it was like, can this family member get past, because they had also you know, history and stuff. So she came back to family, and I done what I needed to do to get myself better.
How long did that kind of take you to get from where you were going into recovery when you met Ray to the point when you were stable enough to start looking to bring it back into your life?
Another thing happened. My journey's just, it doesn't, like, it's, so I got a few years clean then, and I was on my way to work. I was working in a restaurant, and they were like, my daughter was back in Ireland now at the time with a family member. She was literally gone back about 4 months. I got a call, Keira, you need to get back here quickly. And I was like, what? You need to get back. Abby's not well and she's not going to make it through the night. What the fuck is going on here? Like, what the hell? So I was shaking. I remember ringing my sponsor at the time, which is my best mate now. And I remember just like that wailing down the phone. She was after getting meningococcal meningitis and septicemia. So she was going black within seconds. Her whole body was going black. And they were like, you need to get back here. And social services coming down, like giving me money, get me on the first flight. You need to go, you need to go. And I was like, this can't be happening. So I had all the people in recovery ring, because I was a few years now, so we had been to conventions and meeting the Irish crew, and we'd all mixed together. So the Liverpool people have got onto the Irish saying, you need to get to the hospital and meet Keira, she's coming back on a plane. So I had people from Dublin and recovery be at the hospital, and I remember like arriving. I remember like being on the plane, and I just couldn't. When I think of it now, the air hostess must think it's only an hour flight. Would she ever calm down? Like, she's sobbing here. They must have thought I was scared of the plane, because I just couldn't. And I went back, and I remember like a few from recovery were there at the hospital and I just fell into their arms, and they brought me up. And I looked through the window thing, because I wasn't allowed in, and there was like about 20 people around her. And I was like, what the hell is going on here? So I was eventually allowed to go into her, and she had a machine on every organ. She had a breathing machine on, kidneys, whatever it may be, to keep her alive. And she was just like swollen. She was only 3 at the time she got it. Do you know what I mean? She was dainty, like. So I was in the hospital. We stayed in the hospital, and I remember, you know, her dad coming from the prison. He was doing his sentence at this point and hadn't seen her in a few years. So when he got called, I knew this is bad. He's getting called up here, and you know, there's.
Yeah, they wouldn't pull him out of prison for fuck all.
No, and so they were like, she's not going to make it through the night. And I was like, I remember running over to the chapel and just hitting my knees and just saying, please God, she needs to come through this, because if she doesn't, I'm going with her. I can't cope. I'm going to just take that much, that I am going to go with her. And then she started, you know, she continued to fight, and they said, we're going to take the breathing mask off her to see how she gets on. So she had been originally sent to my local hospital, but because she was that ill, they sent her to Dublin, which is for really sick babies. Yeah, they had only like the intensive care that she needed for her, and so they took it off her anyway, and she just continued, you know, continuing to fight. And then bit by bit, each organ started to come back. You know, but I was trying to balance living in 2 countries at this time now. So when she started getting better, I was over and back. And I remember it sent me off the head. I went into a proper mental breakdown where I ended up in a psychiatric hospital, and I ended up using drugs again, because I thought like, and it's mad, because you'd expect, like, it was when she got better that I ended up doing that, but I think I was in that much shock, maybe.
The stress of trying to balance 2 lives, basically.
Yeah, and then when reality started to kick in, just a mental breakdown, and I ended up using again. And she pulled through that, like, she learned how to walk again, so now it's left her deaf in one ear, so she has a hearing aid, and she's a hearing aid, and she has mobility issues, because they were originally going to amputate her legs because the septicemia was travelling to her heart, but they managed to cut 2 big massive holes or whatever they'd done to stop it. So she's been in braces, operation after operation. As she's growing, her Achilles tendon goes up, and they have to cut it to go back down. So she's been through the mill, and you know, and they said she'll never walk again. And that child was in a competition on Saturday doing Irish dancing. Do you know, like a
Yeah.
proper miracle baby. She's just like nothing phases her. She's tough as nails. She's resilient, and she's amazing. Like, so I end up getting better again, bouncing back. It was for a short time, and that since then I've been on the straight and narrow. And in the meantime, then is, you know, I met Dave when I got clean, and this is my youngest dad, Erin's dad, and you know, and then Erin come along, and you know, she's always been born into that happy little home, and she's never known any different. But when it was time then to get Abby back in my care full time, I come up against a fight because people didn't want to hand her back over.
They go on and tax themselves, everything.
Yeah, and as well the social worker that was hers at the time was dead old school, didn't believe anyone could change, wanted her to stay where she is, and I'm like, she needs to be with her sister, she needs to be with her mother in that structured home. So it was a bit of a fight. We come up against allegations, lies, you know, about to get my hair cut off to prove that, you know, that I'm clean, even though I'm in the job. It's just, it was madness. It was a big massive fight, but thankfully, you know, there was a woman then that come on the case, because I put a big complaint in against the local authority, and a woman come on the case and seen it for what it was, and within months Abby was back with me. And last week, so she was still on the care order while she was settling in school and stuff like that, and you know, and last week we went back to court and it was discharged. The judge said there's no need for the state to be involved with this little girl, like, you know, she's thriving since she's went back to mum and blah blah blah. So she's now with her sister, and the two of them are dead happy, and you know, she's been back like 18 months now, but she's settling it down dead well. You know, she done like a big competition in school the other week, and it was like draw a picture for no vaping, no smoking in the parks, and her picture's all over the parks in Liverpool.
Oh, really?
She won, yeah. So she was all over the Liverpool Echo, so she was made up with herself, so she's thriving. So yeah, so so now she's back with her sister, and you know, a few years ago, like for the line of work over the years that I've been doing, I said, you know what, I want to do something so my girls will see me. Going back to uni, even though I couldn't write an email, I literally had to go back and do an access course, learn how to like write an essay, because I got kicked out of school. I was never interested really, and I went back to uni to do psychosocial analysis of offending behaviour. It's a mouthful, like it's like criminal justice, but just a different name, and I'm in my final year now.
Fantastic.
So yeah, so when I was in my second year, I got involved with the cells that I was telling you about, the cells project, and started working with, I went back with the intention that I want to work with kids that are involved in county lines. That was my thing. Why I went back.
Why specifically the county lines, you don't mind me asking?
Because I've seen it like first hand, to be honest. When I was on a relapse that time in Liverpool, I was doing like dodgy stuff, and I seen it first hand, and you know, I just think like it's rife in Liverpool at the minute, county lines. It's really bad.
It's the whole guy.
It's disgraceful. Like I remember years ago, if you went to get a weed off like one of the older lads, they'd be like, fuck off, I'm not giving it to you, and you'd have to get like someone to get it. There's none of that anymore. There's no respect.
For the people who might not know what county lines means, you trying to explain it?
So county lines is a form of exploitation. It's where gangs would use kids to pass drugs from one city to the next.
Generally sending them on trains or coaches and stuff like that.
But the reason they do that is because kids are easy to recruit. So like if what they're using,
hard as a prosecutor as well. Sorry.
I know, and do you know what these kids are?
Impressionable as well. I've had a few kids come through here, 13, 14, who I know, like, they're impressionable young lads in for a fucking new trackie, and fucking someone buying them a pizza and a fucking chippy, that they'll go, yeah, just jump on the train with this package, don't look in the bag, get off. And when you get there in this number, they'll come and meet you and get the train back. I'll buy you a new trackie, new pair of trainers, one sends, and then yeah, you'll be sad. And he's like, yeah, okay, because he's never had mates, or they're all half on the spectrum, and it hasn't been like,
they're dead clever. They go for that single parent
vulnerable kids,
families. They go for the care homes, hang outside care homes, and they're using vapes now as well. So they'll give like 20 vapes and say, now you owe me 50 quid, and then the kid's like, so how am I meant to get the money out? My man say I've been vaping. So then they'll say, well, mind this bag in yours. So there might not be nothing in this bag. So as the kid's on the way to the house with this bag, man's getting his friends to rob this kid. So then the kid's thinking, shit, you know, I'm gonna like what am I gonna So then they'll say, right, well take that, go down to London on the train, and then while they're down there, they're probably staying in some drug addict's house. You know what I mean? And it's rife in Liverpool. It's dead sad. It really is. Or ketamine, they're using ketamine is also like with this. When I got involved with cells, we do like the awareness day, so we go into schools and we speak about like substance misuse, county lines, knife crime, prison life, you know, whatever it may be. And ketamine is the new one. Like when you're doing the drugs,
it's so cheap as well. It's so powerful, but it's so cheap, and it absolutely fucks you.
Your bladder.
Yeah.
Like
I had 3 girls in the car the other day. I drive a taxi when I'm not in the gym.
Oh yeah.
I had 3 girls in the back, and they were all laughing, saying, "Oh, what do you do?" So I was telling them about the gym and stuff like that. And one of them said, "Oh, my boyfriend does jiu-jitsu, my boyfriend does kickboxing," and the other one goes, "My boyfriend's just a kethead," and the other one, "Yeah, he pisses the bed." I was like, what? Yeah. And then they were all laughing about it, and I was like, so you're all taking a piss about the fact that this poor kid who's only fucking 17, 18 has destroyed his body that much that he can't hold his fucking own pissing in the night, you know what I mean? His bladder's completely fucking pretty much rotted away, so it just fucking passes right through. He's got no chance of stopping it, and once that's gone, it's gone. Like that kid will be on a catheter now for the rest of his life.
Yeah. And there's younger than 17. So when it breaks down in the bloodstream, the only way it comes out is the bladder. So what happens is the bladder then gets inflamed and produces this mucus to protect it. But when I've spoke to kids, then they're weeing out this mucus, but they describe it as like pissing glass. That's what they say. That's what it's like.
Yeah.
And the recovery scene, the rehabs and stuff like that, it's all ketamine. And there's girls that are wearing nappies, uncontrollable. They'll sit there and they'll feel like they're bursting to go to the toilet, or else they can't control it. It's mad. But then they'll say, well, at least I'm not a smackhead. And it's like
they just don't have that thing. There's like hierarchy in the drugs world, isn't there? It's like, oh, I have a little drink, but at least I'm not a smackhead. Before you know it, like you go through the
It's like I do you know, sometimes I say it and I was on it, you know what I mean? But I think it's the way some people do say it. It's like baghead actually comes from sniffing glue in a bag. That's where the term baghead comes from. Back in the 80s, 90s, when you sniff petrol and glue.
Glue sniffers, yeah, and you put it in a little carrier bag. And do all that. There was a lad I used to hang around with, complete fucking gobshite. But he'd, oh, look at this, look at that found. And you go, what's that? Yoo-hoo, it's in a Yoo-hoo, it's like a solvent-based glue. And me being a dickhead went, well, what if he broke? And he went, well, it's putting him glue back together with that. And he went, no, look, and it was like that. And then he sat on the floor, his eyes were bloodshot, and he's like a fucking cabbage. And I looked at him and I thought, what a fucking knobhead.
So
what's all that about? Because I've never gone down that path, never needed to. I'm not breaking my fucking head anyway. So I've never needed to have any external. But I'm looking at him thinking, what a prick. And he's just doing it so you know, look what I've had.
But it's the new thing they're using is them blooms. That's the same type of nitrous oxide.
Well, where I take the dog for a walk in Crocky Park, as you go in through the gates, the field on the left, there's the big industrial canisters of it.
Yeah, smart whips.
In the edge of the bushes.
Yeah, the kids will do one of them each.
Each, yeah.
And you look at
so dangerous. Like you end up paralysed and everything, starves the oxygen from going to the brain. Like, and they don't realise how dangerous these things are. Like you literally can end up paralysed from them.
Fucking idiots.
It's mad. They're all over TikTok with the balloons, like thinking this is cool, and it's far from the truth. Do you know what I mean?
No, sometimes it takes an older head who's been through it and come out the other side to say, look, this is where you're going, because no one listens to the parents, no one listens to other people. They just think, well, your kid, I'm only having a laugh, it is what it is.
But that's the problem, is the kids who think, I'm only having a laugh, and why should I listen to you? And that's sometimes you just want to rattle them.
I know.
Wake up.
See, this is where I've seen it firsthand with kids that we've had come into us, because we also had we have a respite as well. So you see them, and something about lived experience. So that was the first kind of place that I felt really like someone's accepted me for my story. Like I didn't have to hide it. You know what I mean? Now lived experience is getting really big in you know, because they're realizing that it works. But you see the kids that when you speak to them that they do listen. They listen like faster than they listen to a teacher.
People will listen to people who've been where they want to go.
Yeah.
Or where they're on the path towards. So if you can empathise with them and say, listen, I know where you are because I've been there and this is where it took me.
And also, you're not in a position of authority over them because kids naturally want to rebel.
Yeah,
so
definitely.
if you're in that position of authority above them, you're a teacher, you're a parent, you're a grandparent, and you've got that kind of position of authority and you're telling them what to do, their natural instinct is to rebel. You know what I mean? So
yeah.
the natural part, and it comes back to when they were all hunter-gatherers and there was only fucking 20 people in the village to stop inbreeding. Once you got to a certain age, your whole body was like, right, I need to get away from these and find a mate outside of this so we don't get inbreeding. So once you get to that certain age, your whole body's telling you to fuck everything they're saying to you because it's going to do you wrong. You want to get over there and do your thing over there when the people who are here are only trying to do what's best for you.
Yeah, that's it.
Definitely.
So having someone outside of that group who you're not looking at as like an authoritarian figure telling you what to do, saying, look, this is fucking wrong, you know what I mean? That's why these kind of conversations are important, I think, because people realise, you know what I mean?
Definitely, I think like when you said then, like once they understand you've been, because that's what, like, you know, in all the various support roles that I've done, like, you know, when they know that you know where they're coming from, because when you're in that place, like, I remember I felt like no one understood, do you know, and if I had intervention come into my schools to tell me like the way it is now, things might have been different.
That's it.
But
people who've walked the line can explain it.
Yeah.
But it's also not a comfortable conversation to have either, is it?
Yeah.
Especially with a room full of kids. So a lot of the old schools and the Catholic schools and all that, they'd rather bury their head and not confront the problem.
But this is the thing.
We don't have stuff like that going on in our classroom. All these kids skin from cat every time.
And they're probably the worst schools.
Yeah.
Like, it's like times have changed, but the systems, the education system is not changing the way it should change. Like, we always encourage kids that come our way to get involved in a hobby. You know, I think
martial arts is the best one.
Martial arts, yeah. Well, I have my girls in Irish dancing twice a week, and I just think like a hobby to keep them kind of, it is a massive kind of protective factor, I suppose, for them not to go down the road.
You're giving them something to look forward to. You're giving them something physical to work on. They're building new social circles, getting new friends, and theoretically they're all going to have a similar interest, whether it be martial arts or dancing or swimming or whatever it is. You're building their little clan, their little team away from the dickheads out on the streets who are going to try and get them into the drugs.
I know. It's just mad, isn't it? Times have changed and they've got worse. I actually feel sad that my kids will never experience the 90s. Like, I remember we used to be out till the street lights come on. We live in, like, Crocky Park's beautiful, isn't it? And you never see kids out.
No, and when you do the bastard side for being with gangs, and like 5 years ago all these kids who were all just playing footy together, they were all just kids, but now they're 13, 14, 15, they're a gang.
I know.
And most of them are good kids.
Well, I'm saying that because I had that in the 70s. 70s and 80s for me.
I think like it was just my kids love going back to their cousins because it's still all like that's still in Ireland now.
Yeah.
And you never see kids on our estate, and it's gorgeous.
There's a place I go up to on the west coast of Scotland. Get up there as often as I can, and I take the piss. I say it's like going back in time. Is it because there's no trouble, there's no drugs, there's no smackheads, there's no dickheads, there's no thieves. I'll pull up on the jetty, leave the keys in the car. If we're going out in the boat, I'll say drop the ropes out. We'll be at sea for 2 days. I'll come back. The keys are still in the car. The keys, there's no ignition on them on the car, but they're just in the little cup holders where you drop the keys. It's still there when I come back. And if I've had the generator or the tools out, they're still in a little pile next to the pier. There's never any problem. It's great the way the world should be, but unfortunately, it's not anymore.
No, it's sad. Like, well, yeah, the world's changing, and it's not for the good, is it really?
No, well that's it. There's just
people like yourself who've been through it all and trying to give back now. That's what's going to steer things back in the right direction, I think.
Yeah. Well, yeah. suppose.
We need to come together as people who've been
A community.
and done and see and share that knowledge and pass it on to the new ones coming up and say, look, these are your options. You're at a crossroads. You can go down that road, but I've been down that road and this is exactly what's going to fucking happen to you. Or you can come down this way.
Yeah.
Classic example, best mate of mine, Peter, when we were coming up through the martial art world, when we were teenagers, 1990, I went to America. I was teaching karate in New York and I was 19. Peter started hanging around with the potheads, and then he found himself shot in the back in a phone box on Stanley Road, down in Bootle. So he's getting shot at and I'm in America making friends with people all from all over the world, just because of the paths we chose.
It's mad, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like one of my best mates, Lindsay, she ended up like she was mad into her party drugs, where obviously I was on the downer, but we were in prison together, we were in like hanging around together, and she ended up like passing away, you know what I mean, because of that madness. And it's just mad. Then I have other friends, like my cousins, like we all come from obviously like a tight family, and they all went to university, they all done dead well. Do you know what I mean? And it was just like I just decided to take the other road. Like
one quick on time sometimes, and you have that one teacher in school who's there for you and gives you a little bit of hope. But if you haven't got that and everything, the whole world seems like it's stacked against you, the odds are in your favour.
Yeah. And I remember when I was in prison, right, there was this one prison officer, and he seen something in me, and he proper impacted me, and I'd love to think that someday I'm going to do that to someone, what he's done for me, because like I was saying nothing, saying nothing, and never back down from anyone. Like this is the, you know, you don't, that's them and that this is us kind of a thing, and that's the way I was like always seeing it. But this fella, he didn't wear a uniform, he was over the education, Mr. O'Brien, and he used to give me a job, and then I'd end up getting a fight the weekend, and he'd come back in one day and I'd be after getting kicked out the privilege house or losing my job, and you know, I'd be dreading to see him because I feel like I was letting him down, because he gave me chance after chance after chance. But he seen something in me that I didn't see in myself. And I remember someone got padded up with me, and she was meant to be like, all the girls were winding me up saying, she's in from the street, she's in Ming. And I went over to him and I was like, she has nits, you need to get her out of the cell or I'm going to end up like, there's going to be trouble. And he sat me down, he was like, Keira, she's come in homeless, maybe she's not. She's come in where you're probably her only conversation. And he changed my thinking. And that night I was doing her hair for her in the cell, like, you know, because of his words of wisdom. So he always believed in me and seen something until I was able to believe myself. And I've done a lot of work like with an ex-prison officer over here, where we go in and speak about drugs as well. And I said to him, you do make a difference, you know, some of yous do make a difference. And I told him the story about Mr. Brown. He was like, email him and tell him like what you're doing now. And I did, and he's a counsellor now, and he was like, he wants to meet up with me when I go back to Dublin. He was made up.
Yeah.
I remember he said, I still have the card, because he was doing psychology at the time, and I spelt it with an S. Good luck in your psychology shite, I said in his card. He said, I still have that card. And I said, it's funny because I'm back in doing a form, it's like psychology, I suppose. I couldn't even spell back then, and I was always getting into fights.
I can't spell now, I'm 50 odds.
But yeah, so it was, yeah, so I'd love to think that one day that's what I'll do for someone, do you know what I mean? Especially like, yeah, especially women that are going through similar stuff. I'd love to be, like when the case ended in court last week, the guardian was like, I hope to never see you again. Now, I've never had involvement with my youngest daughter, you know what I mean, and I still had to put up this big massive fight against them to get my oldest back. Just didn't make sense, you know. If it was just mad. It's like a system that's just, yeah, it's harder than it's just it's not good. It's not good system, the things that I've seen. So when we were in court, she was like, I hope I'll never see you again. I said, oh, you'll see me back, all right, on a professional capacity.
Yeah.
I said, because I'll be supporting the women coming through this court not to give up, because they tried to break you. Early days, they were telling me they were going to adopt her. I was running out of the court and going scoring, thinking, you know, it's like, and they tried to do that with me as well in the last, leading up to the court. you know, it's like they try to break it to see how far.
But if they can break you down and try and break you physically and mentally, they win, and they can go, yeah, look, stamp, gone, in the system
I
away.
know.
One of our mates, I won't mention his name, worked in London with us. I went to see him the other week. Split up from his missus. His missus was on the gear. Little fella got taken into care. I think he was 3. He's about 15 now, and he's got 1 letter a year contact with this kid.
It's ridiculous.
Got no contact with him, no, through no fault of his own. But the little fella was just taken away, and he fought and fought and fought, and he just went, no. The court went, no, he's going into foster care, and you'll contact him when he's 18. He said, but for the last 15 years while he's been away, he's got no idea how this little fella's been educated. He's got no idea what ideas have been put in his head. You don't know what kind of path he's been forced to follow.
I know. It's like, and that it's exactly what they do. Like early days, that time when I ended up in Bizzackley Hospital, she had a social worker, and there was dead old school institutionalized social workers that have the mindset that no one's ever going to change. Now you have new people coming around, like for example, like the last 2 women that I had were actually really good. But that time when I was in hospital, I had sold all my stuff in the house and got like the baby loads of presents and stuff. And she said to me on the thing, I was like arguing with her, I was like, you don't have to see her crying, leaving me on contacts, you can go home to your family overnight. And she was like, well, that's not what we're getting told. Because at the time she was supervised, so she had someone. I said, are you trying to say my child doesn't know me? She was like, well, and then she was like, did you get her anything for Christmas? I said, of course I got her something, she's my only child. I said, but if I got her 1 present or 1,000,000, that present's given with love, and there's no one that would love that child more than me. And then she was like, so she was trying to say Abby didn't know me. And then a few weeks after, when I didn't have accommodation, when I was going from hospital into thing, there was nowhere for the baby to come to see me. And she was like, when the worker's going to collect Abby, or the other kid that lives with Abby, to see her family, Abby's seeing the lanyard and thinking that it's her that's going on contact, and when she's realising it's not her, she's banging her head off the floor. I said, a few weeks ago you told me she doesn't know me, now you're telling me she's banging her head off the floor because she can't come see me. Are you trying to send me on the rope because you don't want to kill me? I was like, what are you trying to do? Like, it's like it was horrible what they were doing. Like,
but they tell that many lies, they can't keep track of what they're saying.
no.
They give you one story today and a complete opposite story 3 days later. Like that, well, the truth somewhere, so where's the truth? What's going on?
It's for professionals. It's right, when I seen it firsthand, I was like, how can they lie like this? They're professionals, they shouldn't be doing that.
No, it shouldn't.
But you know what, I just
They're in a
think,
position of trust as well, so whatever they say can influence whether you get your kids back or like that.
and these are kids you're dealing with, you know what I mean? Like
Numbers on
my
a
friend,
spreadsheet to have it,
my friend now at the minute, she's doing absolutely amazing. She has a kid that got adopted when because she was in the care system herself, and she's fighting tooth and nail to try to look for that child now, and she's doing absolutely amazing. She has all of her kids back in her life, and her oldest had been adopted, and she's trying to find him now. Like, and I just think, like, you know, what if that did happen, and then the child comes saying, well, why didn't you fight for me when it was them that made that choice to do that? Just, yeah, but I just think, like, everything that I've been through, it's just going to make me better at my job eventually, what I'm called to do, I suppose.
Where do you see your future? What are your goals?
I don't know. I think I'd love one day to set up my own little thing going into the prisons to the women. That's what I always like, you know, Hearts for the Women or something with women that, you know, that I can help them in some sort of way. I'm thinking of even doing my masters in social work, to be honest, but just staying on and doing a masters in social work. But yeah, something like that.
Be worth introducing you to Wifey and Abby.
Yeah, Abby's the therapist who we have here. She does her mum's mental health morning downstairs for free for any mums in the city who just need it. Every Tuesday in term time between 9 and 10 we put free coffee on, free toast and juice for the kids and stuff like that.
Before he was born, my missus and a couple of her mates used to do drama classes in the women's prisons.
Oh really?
Yeah, so she's been in a similar role to what you're looking at. Different subject, but similar processes to get into it, so she might have some knowledge that could help you moving forward. So when we're finished, we'll go down and introduce you to the
Well,
missus.
that's like in 10 years time. I want to get loads of experience first,
Yeah.
you know, and I'm in like different roles now of supporting people anyway, so I'm just like kind of, but eventually I'm thinking of doing a master's, and then down the line I don't think I'd have the confidence to do it until down the line. But I've been in the prison sharing my story, and I love it, you know what I mean? I love, it's giving them hope, isn't it? At that time you actually feel like you have no hope.
You're on your own, yeah.
Well, that's again, you're circling back, because you're sat there saying, I'm sat here now, but X amount of years ago I'm sat there where you are, and in another 5-6 years you could be the one sat here sharing with the next group down.
Yeah.
You all have the same opportunities, the same abilities, just whether or not you want to channel it.
Yeah.
Some people are quite happy to go out and stick the syringe in their arm or the shite up the nose, whatever they want to do. But then other people, like you say, they'll have that moment where the brain switches.
Because when you're in addiction, like if I went out and scored now, I have a choice to do that, don't I? But when you're in it, you're powerless. Like I remember taking drugs and I wanted to stop so much, but I couldn't, because this power that it had over me. It was like I always say to people, I take a bullet for my kids now, right now in the head, I would take, but I couldn't stop at that time, which is mind-boggling, do you know what I mean? But it was just like, some people, I suppose, they wanna continue doing what they're gonna do, and some people are in it that want to get out of it, don't they?
And
They
some
just
people
don't know how.
are in, want to get out but don't know how as well, so
Sadly.
yeah.
But eventually that's what I want to do. I have my graduation for my degree coming up now soon, so I have a big dissertation, 10,000 word dissertation to do in the next few weeks, and then alongside work, and then I'm getting married in
Lovely. Whereabouts?
May 27 in Chester.
Lovely.
So we're gonna be all go next year now.
Lovely. Which uni you're in?
The last Edgehill.
Fantastic.
The last year. I loved it. It's been amazing. I've won scholarships. I'm also a scholar of the uni. It's mad. Like, so I've won scholarships. I've won 2.
If you could go back now to the day you were in prison and tell yourself this is where you're going to be in 5-10 years time, however long it's going to be, do you think you'd have believed yourself?
No, for university was so far away from my world. Like, that wasn't even possible. That wasn't reachable for me whatsoever. It wasn't on the cards. And I always say, like, my partner, he's always had a good job, and he encouraged me to, like, you know, because I wanted to do it and I had spoke about it, but never had the confidence to just go and do it. So I was like, right, I'll just do aesthetics on the side, or I'll just do something like that. And I wanted to do criminology. That was what I wanted to do. I always wanted to be a probation officer, you know, help prisoners thing. And he was like, encouraged me to go back and do the access course to get the points and then get into uni. And I went in my last year, I just feel like I won a scholarship in my second year for the work that I do outside of uni. And then I just won a scholarship recently as well off the Longford Trust, which gives scholarships to like ex-prisoners. But I didn't fit the criteria. It was 5 years, but they considered me, which I'm dead grateful for. So yeah, I almost won 2 scholars on the way, just winging it. Proper winging life. But
So you make it, yeah.
I know, that's it.
That's brilliant. That's to come full circle through all the shit you've been through to where you are now, and you're dedicating your life to helping other people. It's fantastic.
Yeah.
Well, that's a good thing for people watching this, because you get all backgrounds watching it, not just our mates. You just get people who will click on it by random and go, what's that about? And if you sit and you watch and you listen, you go, that could be me.
They do though. I said that to you the other day, didn't I? When I was going through a rattle back after that time Abby was sick, you can't sleep, can you, when you're rattling, you're up for days. And I used to watch podcasts. I used to watch like stories of people, you know, like the American ones I used to watch a lot, and the
Joe Rogan and stuff.
it was, you know, while I was awake. So you'd be surprised like who actually listens to them.
You also get people who will put it on in the car. I've always called it the Rolling University. I started a personal development program 30 years ago, so I'd be driving along, listening to people like Anthony Robbins and Zig Ziglar and Tony Robbins and all that kind of stuff. And you're just listening and you're absorbing it while you're driving subconsciously. But now there's that much crap on the radio. Same way, if I'm going on a long run, I'll just connect the car up, Joe Rogan or one of them, and listen to that.
Yeah.
And you have different guests. Some of them might be comedians, you're having a laugh, but then the next one might be a scientist, you learn how the university works, so you're listening to Graham Hancock and they're doing all their information on the past, the ancient past. So everyone's got a story, and it will resonate with the right people at the right time. Someone will pick it up and go, ooh, that's me, she's describing my life, I've been there, I've done that. Now how do I get from here to there? So if there's someone watching or listening who's in that circle now, they're on the drugs, they're using, they're abusing, they're addicted to whatever, what's the first step to get off and start creating a new life for yourself?
I suppose by asking for help, you know, once you voice that, you're taking the power out of your thoughts, aren't you? And you're voicing, I always say now, like that, I've turned my pain into a purpose. From pain to purpose, I say that all the time. And, you know, asking someone for that help, because I guarantee someone that you speak to will be going through something similar, that have been through something that they're going through. You know, get around recovery, huddle around the right people. I had to leave my country, unfortunately, people, places and things. I had to come away from it all, the madness, but that's it, reaching out to people that have been through it and getting yourself sorted. You know, we're not bad people, but we've made shit choices, and you know, that doesn't define who, even the word lived experience, I still get a bit because I feel like people judge you on your story or define you by your story. She has lived experience, where no, I have a story, yeah, that I can empathise with you and understand where you come from, but I'm also caring, I'm also compassionate, I'm also listening there, I also have knowledges of the right services around Liverpool to direct you to. I don't just have lived experience.
What you're saying there now, that's a story, it's not the story, it's not the complete picture, that's just one part of where you've been.
Definitely,
and
yeah.
it's the bit that makes sense to that particular part.
Yeah.
There's all other stories that are completely unrelated.
And went back and got a degree, so the education side of things now, you know, I also have, so like it's good that I can have lived experience to help other people, but there's a lot more that you can offer, and the majority of people as well that you'll see around the recovery rooms, like Ray, like, you know, he's dedicated himself to helping people as well, you know, and that's just, I think it's because we know how painful it is to be in that place that we just want to see people get out, you know, just come, just do this. And you know, sometimes it's a letdown because you can get like emotionally attached, I suppose, to when, and then feel let down, but you know, you have to hit that internal rock bottom, I think.
But while we were out, we were talking other things that are going on, and another thing we've got in common, I've been working, so has Connor, as a child protection officer online child protection officer, the posh word, we're paedophile hunters. So we've been on a couple of what they call stings, getting paedophiles off the street. What we do is we work with a couple of different child protection agencies. The big one at the moment we're working with is an organisation called Apex Child Protection, and they monitor online activities looking after vulnerable kids. So
people set up as decoys online, pretending to be kids. I couldn't do none of that. I couldn't be flirting.
I couldn't be a decoy.
No.
But what's happening is you get your paedophile, your
Would you get that
pervert.
around Liverpool?
They're all over the place.
Yeah.
I've been specifically requested to build I was going to say a Scouse team, but a Northwestern team to deal with the perverts around here, because they're all over the place, they're all over the country. So what do you do?
There's teams all over the country that we're involved with now.
You'll find the kid's photo, right? So, and it'll
you
start with...
You can do it with AI, so you're not putting anyone's actual kid and you can...
Yeah, well that's what they do.
AI generated picture of
an AI
early teen kid playing in a park, and then that'll generate the image and then you can use that.
I've heard that.
So you're not actually putting anyone's kids' pictures out there for the nonsense online, you know what I mean? But then they set up as
what the nonsense do is they'll start messaging, oh, aren't you pretty, what's your name, haven't you got lovely eyes and all that, and then it just gets darker and darker and darker. you want to meet up? Do you want to do this? Have you got a boyfriend? Have you ever been kissed? And then it gets worse and worse and worse. Then he starts sending them photos of themselves and
Requesting
videos,
photos back.
asking for photos back.
Oh, horrible.
But while they're doing all that,
It's grooming online
that's
as
exactly
well.
what it
So
is,
when
yeah.
we go in with cells as well, like that's what we speak about in the exploitation workshop, is as online grooming as well. Like I hate that Roblox. I call it kiddie crack. I hate it. Like I'm always constantly watching, and I banned Roblox now, to be honest, because I just don't like it. Her behaviour becomes terrible when she's playing it. She gets angry, frustrated, stuff like that. But they're coming through on the games. And since COVID, obviously everyone was locked down. That was the only way that the fuckers could come through.
Yeah, well that's the problem, they're all communicating online. So you got the decoys gathering the information, they're screenshotting everything that you're putting in. And the biggest red flag was when you go, do you want to transfer this over to WhatsApp? Because my Facebook's playing up on my Instagram. But when they're on WhatsApp, they think their communications can't be tracked. But it's all being checked, it's all being logged.
So would the police, though, when you ring the police then, would they actually arrest them?
Yeah.
Because I've
So
seen
what
some
they
cases
do-
where they haven't.
If it's done properly.
If it's done properly, it's done right. What these decoys do is they won't arrange a meet until there's three crimes committed. So like online grooming, requesting or sending solicitous images. Each one of them is a potential charge. So unless there's 3 charges within the evidence that the evidence pack that they put together, we won't go ahead and do a sting, because if we turn around and said, hello, what's your name, you're 15, son, let's meet, then there's not enough there for a conviction. So if you went down and done a sting on that, you're wasting your fucking time, you're pissing in the wind.
Yeah.
So you wait until there's a definite evidence of 3 charges before they go in and do the sting.
Some of them are just complete fucking wrongdoings.
I watched one recently and it was in Liverpool. I was shocked.
Oh, yeah, they're all over the place.
Everywhere.
I did one in Preston 2 nights ago, and we're doing one tonight. I won't tell you where,
Yeah.
until after it's done.
Would
if you're a pervert and I come knocking on the door, you're fucked.
I'll come with you.
We're coming for you.
If you want to
I'll
join the
come
team,
with
mate.
Mate, we're
But
building
I
a new
always
team.
know you need to be strong to do something like that. I think
you're strong.
I think my
you're stronger
recovery
than
would
you
go
let
in
on.
my back pocket though, and the old school Keira would.
But then that's where the security comes in, right? There's 2 roles for security. Number 1, if I'm working security and that pillow there is the pervert, my job is to stop him from hurting one of us.
Oh.
Right? But also, this is the hardest part, right? If our little pervert here, let's call him Andy for this particular one, right? If Andy the pervert is there and then the neighbours and all that find out who he is and what's going on, I then have to turn my security from there to there and protect him from all the rest of the people who want to give him a hard time. Because if he gets a slap, he gets to walk. Now, on average, the way it was explained to me, for every decoy he's talking to, on average, they're talking to about 50 of the kids. Right? So, if we give him a slap, it's going to feel great. You're going to kick fuck out of him. You're going to go, I fucking love that. Kick those ribcage inside out. You're going to feel great. And he's going to walk away. But then he's got 49 real kids that he's still communicating with. If we can keep our hands in our pockets and not give them a dig and have them lifted and put away, there's 49 kids potentially who are safe.
Yeah. True.
And then what happens, because all of the decoys communicate, they put a message out saying, right, we're going to pick up this Andy. Here's his photo, this is the area he lives in. 3 or 4 of the decoys might go, he's been with me, he's been with me, he's been with me, and they'll send all their information as well. So when you phone the police, you say, okay, we're outside Andy's house, phone number 123, the main road. He's done A, B, C, X, Y, Z, and 1, 2, 3. We've got a full information pack. We need you to send a car around. So they dispatch a car or a couple of cars. There's always 2 vehicles turn up. And while you're doing that, you're also doing a Facebook Live. So the idea behind the Facebook Live is similar to this. He can't stand there and go, you fucking battered me, you give me a slap, because it's all video evidence. But I can't say, oh yeah, he fucking give me a slap, so I give him one back. There's not that. It's all out in the open. So it's all evidence that way. So the police get the video evidence, they get the photographic evidence. So while you're talking to them, depending on who it is, usually they'll admit to what they're doing. The fellow we done 2 nights ago up in Preston, we saying, how many people are you speaking to? And he went, I wouldn't like to guess.
Oh.
And the girl who was what they call the hunter, she said, look, we've got the phone logs, just tell me the truth, how many people you're speaking to. And he went, 3, 4, might be 6 or 10. So if he's admitting to 3, 4, 6 or even 10, it's probably going to be more like 20. And he's just like there, and he was saying, I like to dominate people, I like to control them.
I remember someone saying to me that when in uni someone was saying that it's like they actually compared it to addiction. They said it's like addiction, like you're powerless over addiction. They have the same thing, and I was thinking, nah, I can't get it around my head how that can be the same. How are they addicted to
kids? There's a movement where they're trying to normalise it, and they're calling it, what do you call it? Underage minor attraction.
Minor attractive persons.
Minor attractive persons. Apparently that's the plus in the LBGTQV fucking HIV plus, whatever it is that they're calling themselves now.
Like this is mad. Like the world's gone mad.
Yeah.
That's it.
We're just trying to do our bit to put it right.
So you do a little bit.
Board, so we do a lot with mental health, like we spoke about. We help a lot of people in recovery. I've got people in the gym who are in recovery. One of my main coaches is in recovery. So we do a lot across the board, but across the board extends beyond most normal people, you know what I mean? We're also proactively looking to, not only have we got all our own safeguarding policies and procedures in place for the kids who come and train here, but then we're also out actively hunting to take the fucking monsters off the streets as well.
Yeah, amazing.
So we all do what we can to give back, and the bonus is because we've got different levels of knowledge. With my experience as a security and bodyguard and stuff like that, I can see situations arising that other people will be oblivious to. You'd see things in the drug world that go way over my head because you've got that experience and that background. I am very, very naive when it comes to drugs. I don't know nothing about it because I just went, not interested. Just fuck off basically. You want to smoke that, smoke it over here. Even to this point now, partly because of me cough. If you're smoking a weed anywhere near me, I'll just start coughing my ring up. Got a nose like a police dog. It's just the smell of weed just makes me want to be sick. It just really irritates my throat, makes me cough, so I won't tolerate it. And I've had parents come here and he might buy on a nose like that. You smell weed? And he sees some of the other parents going like that. A little bit, and I'm on it like a fucking tramp on a bag of chips. And because I'm well known for my diplomacy, right? I go, listen, you fucking stink, you need to go home and get a watch. And you go, what? I said, I'm not going to be nice about it because there's nothing to be nice about. You fucking stink. We've got a class full of kids here and none of us want to be breathing that smell of weed in. Go home, get a wash and come back changed and don't fucking come back here smelling like that. I won't tolerate it.
Good stuff.
And it's unfortunate for the kids, you know what I mean? Because the kids must know that mum or dad or auntie or whoever's picking them up fucking stinks. Yeah, you know, they're not daft.
Yeah, they do know that you've had kids come when we like do like show them like you'd have kids saying like, yeah, my mum does that, my dad does that.
His sister, we got dragged into school.
Yeah, this was, how old was she, about 6 or 8?
Yeah.
Morgan, they were doing like my mum does this and my mum, like a kind of show and tell thing, like what do your parents like, and Morgan popped up and just told everyone in school that their mum was addicted to coke.
No, she said, my mum's a cokehead.
Oh, is that what it was?
Yeah, and the teacher went, what? Said, yeah, my dad says my mum's a cokehead, but only if it's Diet Coke because she doesn't like the red cans she used to drink. She was addicted to fucking Diet Coke and she'd probably do 6, 8, 10 cans of Diet Coke a day, and I'd take the piss and go, oh, fucking cokehead's at it again, look. She'd be like, need to got a Coke, need to got a Coke. She'd have vibrating if she had a can of Pepsi Max, if she hadn't had a can of Diet Coke, but she's off all that shite now as well. But that's a hard one to break. Just because of the chemicals.
Addiction's addiction, isn't it?
That's it.
It's like caffeine.
I'm the same with donuts and chocolate biscuits. I start vibrating. You want to see me in the Rottweiler fight over a chocolate biscuit? Oh, I'd fucking murder. There's murder in our house if he gets to the biscuits before me. But, right, we leave it there because you got to get to school, get the little one.
Pleasure. Thank you for coming.
You're welcome. Thanks for having me.
No worries. Well, listen, if you've enjoyed it.
If you're comfortable to come back.
Yeah, defo. I'm like an open book, I'm like.
Yeah.
I love all that.
Irish.
Well, thanks for coming in. I'm going to turn the cameras off and
Thank you very much.
we will sort that out.
I really enjoyed that.
Just for the sake of the cameras, because this has been a fairly long one, we might have to break this into 2 or 3 parts because we've been running for just over an hour, so we'll probably break it into 2 or 3 components and we'll sort that all out. So see you all on the next one.
See you later. And I'll, once that's edited,